Hi guys, this is Tidepool Tim. I'm here at Gulf of Maine, and today we're going to walk you through a northern sea star, starfish dissection. What we have here is a Gulf of Maine vacuum sealed northern sea star, also known as the common starfish, and this is probably the most common starfish in North America. Okay, so in this video I'm going to walk you through a real dissection of the starfish, and it doesn't matter if you're a student, you're a teacher, a homeschooler. We have everything here today that you will need to dissect a starfish. Well, some rubber gloves, some eye protection, set of scissors, the star, and then we have a little dissection kit, which we will probably use the probe to point things out. Here, really all we need out of this is optional, is a pair of scissors, and you can use any scissors you have at home. If they have a pointed end, that makes it a little easier, and then sometimes a probe as well to point things out. And then of course we have a tray in which to dissect. We also use this tray typically to let the starfish soak in water a day before, diffuse out some of the preservative, the formalin solution. And what that does is it just makes for a cleaner environment for the student or the teacher, so that you don't have off-gassing from the formalin preserved specimen. Okay, so you're going to peel the little tear part of the bag and open up your starfish. So after you've opened from the package, you put it in some just plain water and let it soak overnight. Typically you can leave this in a ventilated area. Sometimes if you're in your kitchen sink or in a lab, you can just let the water run over this like you would for hot vegetables or pasta to cool it off, but you're just kind of leaching out some of the preservative. All right, external anatomy. We've got the starfish all soaked now. We're gonna get rid of the water. All right, so external anatomy of a sea star or a starfish. You can see the 5 rays here. Probably the first thing you're gonna wonder what structure is this little yellowish orangish dot, and that's called the madreporite. This essentially is where the starfish pumps water in and out of its body to move its hydraulic system, which are connected to these soft fleshy tube feet. Okay, other external anatomy. On the dorsal side or the top, you have these very stiff little spines. These are called the immovable spines because they're fixed, and this serves as part of the sea star's exoskeleton, which allows it to protect itself. And starfish are pretty tough, pretty hard, and so that keeps crabs, fish, other potential predators from coming and feeding on them. On the dorsal or the bottom side, we have these grooves at the bottom of each ray, and that's called the ambulacral groove. And what that serves as is a place for the fleshy tube feet, these little suction cups that are on the bottom of each arm. And the starfish uses these not only to move and to walk along the seafloor, but uses those same cups to grab their prey, like a clam or a mussel or a scallop. Any mollusk will do. Starfish aren't particular. And then also it allows them to breathe, so they're able to exchange gases or water, which contains oxygen, gets rid of carbon dioxide. And then right here in the center is where the mouth is for a sea star. Right there. Okay, so now we're going to dissect, and a starfish dissection is probably one of the simplest animals to open up and to actually look at internal anatomy. So you get your scissors. These are kind of hard to get my big fat fingers on. And you could choose any one of the arms or the rays, and you're just going to snip off the end. Let's start with this one right here. So we cut off the tip, and I'm not sure if you can see this, but there's a little hollow there where you'll be able to stick your scissors in. And simply what we're going to do, we're going to cut up the side of the arm, around the central disc here, and then back down. We're going to open up this whole top part of the exoskeleton. This is why you want to wear your safety goggles, because sometimes there's a little bit of fluid in there, and as you're cutting these stars, or any specimen, can actually squirt preservative into your eyes. And since it's an acid and a foreign chemical, you don't want to get that into your eyes. So here we go down the side. If you do get it in your eye, it's like similar to getting bleach or any cleaner or gasoline or anything like that in your eye. You just want to get to a sink, flush it out for a few minutes, and it will be a little irritating. But I mean, this, you got to remember, this is a preservative that came into being over 100 years ago. It's used in every lab, every school, every university. It's a very common preservative. Okay, so here we go. We've got the central disc pulled out. You've got the arm all dissected. Now let's peel it back and see what's inside. I'm just going to take this little probe, kind of peel this thing back. Oops. Now in this case, what we've done, we're going to have to actually tease back part of the structure because it's staying attached to that. There we go, beautiful. Just kind of push, pull back, and there we go. With my scissors, I've kind of damaged some of the internal anatomy, but we can patch it up. So right here in the middle, all this fleshy stuff, this is the stomach. And what's cool about starfish is they can take their stomachs and push them outside of their body. They're able to take the stomach and push it into a clam or into a scallop or whatever they're eating outside of the body. So right now we see the stomach is all tucked in to the central disc or the central part of the starfish. If it were feeding, that same structure, this structure would be right out here like a big deflated water balloon, if you will. So it allows the starfish to feed outside of its body. So now we flip this over. This brown stuff, which was all located here, is called the digestive gland. And so once that starfish is able to dissolve a clam or a scallop or a mussel, this digestive gland is going to allow it to secrete enzymes and break it down and then absorb it and digest it and use it for its food. So you see a little bit of the gland here, a little bit of the gland there. These little ribs here on the side, and you've got to remember on the bottom of the arm are the tube feet. So these are the canals, or the hydraulic, the water pressure is able to push through. And then this is almost like, listen to that, almost like the backbone of the arm. And this is a very strong calcium-based part of the exoskeleton. Hear that? But you got to remember that the sea star uses water pressure to move and to feed and to breathe. So it's very important that there are channels from the inside of the star to the outside of the star. And then the last sort of structure that you can kind of see is a fleshy substance right down in here. And this is a young starfish, so it's not sexually mature, but this is the actual gonad. And so if this thing were larger and more mature, this gonad would be about the size of this digestive gland. But here it's fairly diminished, very small. This would be a starfish that isn't ripe or isn't ready to spawn and make baby starfish, if you will. Peel back the stomach and get that out of the way, and we'll be able to see this other structure called the radial canal. I don't know if you can see this, but right here the stomach is hooked in at the center. And so we're gonna have to like kind of tease the other parts of the stomach out of here, and then we're going to take the scissors and go in and cut where the stomach is attached. Take the probe and you'll see this. I'll just pull it right out. Here comes the stomach. We're going to put that right there. Still plenty of stomach in the way. All right, the stomach's out. We got the digestive gland. That was hooked into the stomach. So let's say this little tip is a clam, and the stomach comes out of the sea star, and it eats the clam. It secretes the enzymes, and then all of that liquid, that digested clam, goes into this digestive gland and is absorbed for food for the starfish. Now, the next structure, hopefully you can see, is that there's a bony circular part to the star, and each one of the rays attaches here, and this is called the ring canal. And it's a canal because it conducts water. So say the sea star, it's low tide and only this arm is in the water. It can actually pump water out to this arm, this arm, this arm, this arm. So it's like almost like not a sewer system, but a central pump on a hydraulic system, you know, on an excavator or a tractor or something like that. So this arm can act as a syringe and pump water to all these other arms. So the starfish, even though it's out of the water, as long as it has one ray or arm in the water, it's still able to move and to pump up those 2 feet and to crawl into the water and perhaps even save its life. So here we are. We're going to do a quick review. We're going to put everything back together. We'll put the stomach in the middle. We're going to put the digestive gland back into the arm. And then we're going to put the exoskeleton on the top. And yes, kids, you can do this at home. Here we go. Taking off the exoskeleton with the madreporite. We've got the digestive gland here. And then we've got the stomach. Underneath the stomach is this important ring canal that conducts and pumps water to each of the different arms. All right, well, the dissection's over, and in terms of disposal, you can simply put all of the sea star parts back into the bag and then dispose it in the trash or landfill. Here's another thing you can do if you don't feel like you did a very good dissection of one arm of the starfish. You still have 4 other options. So feel free, you and your mom or dad or your teacher, you could actually dissect each one of these arms of the starfish, cutting the exoskeleton out, and then you actually got a chance to look inside each one and compare the anatomy. Obviously it's identical in each one, but one of the arms may have a bigger digestive gland, maybe have more developed gonads, etc. So you can compare and contrast the structures in each arm, because remember, if this sea star were to be cut into pieces, it can grow back. So each arm is independent and is able to grow into a whole new sea star, as long as it has part of the central canal and central disc. So yeah, thanks for tuning in for the Gulf of Maine starfish dissection. Thanks for supporting our rural business and allowing us to work with local fishermen and bring money into our little economy here in eastern Maine. So after you dissect your starfish, make sure you follow me on YouTube and on Instagram, and as much as you can, like and share and spread the word.